I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell politicians to give up the rooms. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth.
God, it's me. Can you hear my plea? Feeling like I'm lost in this world, can't you see? Demons creeping in, trying to take control of me. But I'm just trying to find the light, trying to break free. I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. But why you keep forgetting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feeling like I'm on a leash. Can't find no peace, find no peace. Living in hell, can't you hear my plea? I'm suffocating, can't you see? Why you let these false prophets roam free? While the well-run suffer, can't you see? I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Why you keep targeting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feel like I'm on a leash, can't find no peace.
Hardest battles, strongest soldiers, greatest burden, broadest shoulders, shooting up just like these boulders. See conflict like it's water, so this mercy, take my chalice, seeking grace through all this malice. All of these salty motherfuckers to give up.
Politics and sinners, they all the same. Got me stuck in this endless game, but I won't give up, won't play the role. Gotta do what's best
for my soul.
I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell these politicians to give up the room. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth. Living wild but truthfully free, God keep on watching over me.
Hey, y'all are tuned in to the Urban Conservative. And good morning. It's motherfucking good day. So I want to talk about this morning, collision course, drones, firefighters, and history's turning point. That's what I really want to talk about today. So before I get into that, I get into it in independent music. This is me, new release. I got a new album coming out next week. And this is a letter to the devil. This is featuring Abstract Sam, Trip Young, Lee Moore, Circumstantial Saint, Corel Wrights. Man, these motherfuckers did their thing on this. And I really want to give it up to everybody that was a part of this album, DLN Nation. And to figure out, man, listen, it doesn't matter who's with us, because at the end of the day, we come by any means necessary. So let me get into Letter to the Devil by the Urban Conservative.
I'm sorry it had to be like this. You don't get to taste bliss. Nothing feels better than this. Revenge. Blood spilt is thicker than water, especially when you're just friends. Take it again and run with it.
Your time's up. Better pack up and dip. You ain't the landlord here. Grip slip. Jesus kicked you out. I'm sealed and free. No chains on me. This closure is destiny. In 89, 2 Vicky Lou's caught fire. Now they walk as peace. Streets wide. Ones that passed here still pushing your lie. The other we all know. No surprise. But now we rise. No fear in sight. Ready for war. But we fighting for life. I ain't living for sin. I'm breaking free. I'm finally home. I found my peace. So take your seat. Me and all my fam. We moving to a beat that says, I am. It goes, whoa, whoa. It goes, whoa, whoa. It goes, whoa, whoa. It goes, whoa, whoa. It goes, whoa. Nah, I ain't free for the rage I feel. Righteous anger. Cause you ain't real. Move out my lane. I ain't your slave. I ain't no sucker. I won't brave. I ain't living for sin. I'm breaking free. I'm finally home. I found my peace. So take your seat. Me and all my fam. We're moving to a beat that says, I am. Now you got me talking about the tears we shed, all the blood spilled and the homies dead. You fed the pain, played us like a pawn, but now we woke. You ain't king of this dawn. I see through your game, no more deception. I'm built for survival, learning my lesson. All my people rise up, stand down. We're staying down. We're staying down.
Heaven feels a lot like hell once you start to lose your grip.
Mental dope is crazy, hazy interlopers. Cops are topping helicopters. Elwood shouting down these hopers. Stoned us choking up our noses. Taking showers in these hoses. All I know is no one owns us. All I know is no one owns us. Baby deebido. Baby deebido. Baby deebido. Dragons dancing, tyrants dancing, fashion on horseback, Billy Lancing, cash on eBay, into gas mask, way they gas us, need a hazmat, Annie reach for violent relapse, thinking they just need a relapse. All powers to the people, bitches, y'all ain't never gonna beat us. Baby deebido goes like whoa, goes like whoa, 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 whoa. Baby deebido goes like whoa, goes like baby deebido, whoa, goes like baby deebido.
I'm sorry it had to be like this. You don't get to taste bliss. Nothing feels better than this. Revenge. Blood spilt is thicker than water, especially when you're just friends. Take it again and run with it. Run with it. Run with it till you trip. Slip. Heaven feels a lot like hell once you start to lose your grip.
You only come out at night cause you lost your shine. You oxymoron, why do you keep trying? You cast shadows to dim in your attempts to win. You will never eradicate the light, weightless like a feather cause your wings were put for us. An angel jealous of our grace. Oh, how far are you falling for what I heard like light. Crashing so hard you think you're rising, but you're still deep in that crater. While you curse the creator for creating. I wonder if your depiction with horns is cause you're bullheaded. Knowing if you submit and admit your decisions were wrong, you'll be back where you once called home. For our Father's love is unconditional. You are just unwilling and unable. You choose to be a dictator instead of being one with the people, of whom is your brethren. You could walk, but you choose to slither. Mouth full of dirt. No wonder why you're so bitter.
I'm typing you a letter, cause you ought to know better. But we all together are far more clever. Time to spark the revolution, let's pull the lever. Ties will sever, CEOs' heads are severed. War is abundant, but so is measure. Tribe is forming for the storm. We don't need warning, know the war is coming. Hide your eye and know your tribe. Tighten your boots, get ready for the ride. Ain't no why, we solid, we tight. No pride, no try, no mistakes, cause we've taken the precautions in hindsight. The path and feel your truth. Saints and sinners, so you know what to do. Middle finger to the grins on the city lights. We're sold on TV shows. Deals made while children don't eat. Blood-soaked gold for LCD. I know my worth, my soul can't be sold. We got all the fire, we got all the smoke. We're the force you can't contain. Fuck your umbrella, you can't stop the rain. From the river to the motherfucking sea. Funding a genocide is all the excuse we fucking need.
Heaven feels a lot like hell once you start to lose your grip.
We're all just freaks on leashes, aren't we? But I wanna be a freak unleash. I want us all to be released from your hell. God, let us breathe. They say I was created in your image. Freak. That's how I know I'm a freak. Because clearly you're a freak too.
You can't claim they throne and they broke the crown. You had us trapped, blinded and chained, but we learned the truth. Now we reign. From the hood to the hills, it's your turn to live. We take back our souls, got nothing to give. It goes whoa, it goes whoa, whoa, it goes 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 whoa.
Clearly, you're a freak too.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Baby deebido.
We're all just freaks on leashes, aren't we?
Whoa.
We're all just freaks on leashes, aren't we?
I'm nobody to mess with. I'm the Charles Bronson of rap. Fucking with me, you must have a death wish. I'm the devil in the flesh, bitch. You don't want to test this. I got a 13-knot necklace I've been dying to put around your neck, bitch. Respect this. Don't neglect this. Don't turn your head, bitch. I'm coming real hard in the paint. And don't think for 1 minute that I can't drag you off your high horse in one discourse. Make your mom want a divorce and your sister kiss sworce.
Freak.
Heaven feels a lot like hell once you start to lose your grip. You're just friends.
Hey, man, good morning. That was Urban Conservative and Letter to the Devil, featuring Abstract Sam, Trip Young, Lee Moore, Circumstantial Saint, and Corel Wrights. I want to start off today, man, and I really want this episode to mean something. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to be any different than anything that I've ever done, right? And today I want to remember Ron Edwards. And it really goes into context, right? So I want to play this. I have something. It's about 4 minutes long. But listen to Ron, right? Listen to the words that are being said. Listen to Ron. This is right before he passed away in January of 2020. And it was sad because it put so much together why we have so many things and connections. And like, I was out here fighting for George Floyd. But what I didn't understand is that I had a bigger cause. It wasn't just about one person. It was about change. How could I make change? And I wanted to, you know what I'm saying? And that's when I made a difference, right? And Ron had already passed away, but so I'm gonna get into it, but I want you to listen to Ron Edwards, right? And this is remembering Ron because I think he played a big, significant part of Minneapolis, and he's not, in my eyes, he's not shown enough gratitude. He's not shown enough appreciation. So with that being said, man, I want to play this, and it's remembering Ron Edwards.
Maybe at some point someone will write a manifesto or a book or something and really talk in terms of how hard it is for community to have the necessary representation to enjoy the First Amendment, if you will, and not find themselves blindsided by secret agreements and etc., as is rumored happened here about a year ago, that certain information needs to be suppressed, if you will, that there needs to be a control mechanism. See, at the point that the forces of nullification and reversal are able to close down the voice of the people, the First Amendment, and etc., this country is all through. It has no relevance whatsoever to anything that people have talked about and that many of America's sons and daughters died for, starting as far back as the Revolutionary War of 1776 and 1777 and all through the process. And so there are those that are newcomers to our nation as we move into the last three and a half minutes. There are newcomers to our nation that have not begun to understand the importance and the intensity of the battle to maintain free speech, to maintain opportunity, to bring forward, quote unquote, your point of view, your history, your hope, your dream, and etc. Man, that is a significant battle. And if you fail to understand it, then you fail to understand what democracy and free speech is all about. And so keep that in mind, my friends. In this edition, if you will, of the history of MTN, the importance of a free voice, a free society, an honest description of a dream. We got a lot of fake dreams that are taking place in this country under the current administrations and the power brokers that are running this country. But the most important dream is the honest dream, the one that is factual, the one that, quote unquote, has received the blessing of the sons and daughters of many communities who have come and gone in the battle for the continued existence and the presence of the First Amendment. Man, that First Amendment is so important. And so, again, I appreciate the opportunity from the leadership of MTN to ask us to step in and just give our history. As we said before, we are one of the signatories to the franchise agreement. And we were long before that involved in the battle to make sure that freedom of speech was a part of the great, quote-unquote, liberal dream. Again, we want to thank you, and to my colleagues and to the MTN family, thank you. Good afternoon and good evening.
Thank you, Ron. And definitely we will miss you. That's what's crazy because there's so much with Ron, you know what I'm saying? And when you go into the history of Ron Edwards, so many names start to come out, and especially with his leaders in today's time. And you see and you understand that the grift is very serious. I want to say that the grift is very serious. And I want people to watch. I want people to watch. I want people to watch, right? Because Ron called this out. And it's crazy because how many views these videos have, they should really have more. If you really want the understanding of what was going on in Minneapolis, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would honestly look into this. If you wanted to know what was going on in Minneapolis, right? If you wanted to know the history, if you wanted to know the fight, if you wanted to know all the players, you got to know the history, right? And I understand what Ron, and here's the crazy thing of it is, I want to give it up to artificial intelligence. I want to give it up to Jewel Adore. Jewel is the one that opened the door for me to see honestly what these people were about. Because there is some people in this fight for really change. But see, the point of this is that there was a grift. They understood that whatever happened to George Floyd, they could profit off it, along with COVID. And that's why I want to talk about January 20th. I want to talk about COVID. And I want to talk about so much more, right? But MTN, private, but really public board meeting, right? And I want to get into this because this was 8 years ago. 8 years ago. And you're going to see Elle Flowers. And this is the first time I've ever said her name on here, Samantha Pre-Gonzalez. I know Samantha. I have experience with Samantha in multitude of ways. But it really astonishes me. Well, it really doesn't, because I see a lot of these people and I'm like, damn, they already had connections. So if y'all already had your foot in the door in the city, why haven't y'all made change? They keep on closing everything you do. So why are you fighting us? Because at the end of the day, I didn't care about you not getting money, motherfucker. Because now there's an abundance of money. And now you want to try to get over on us, the little guy. And now we see the bigger picture, the new people that are coming in and seeing that these people are nothing but bloodsuckers. Yeah, it's crazy. And that's why I get so mad. That's literally why I get so mad, is because you think these people, oh, we see it. No, you don't see it, because how are you going to see it but still interact with the same fucking people? You're part of the problem. And I'm tired of people sitting on the fence, when at the end of the day, we would really get further if you would call out your friends. If you would call out your brother, your sister, your friend, your girlfriend, your wife, your mother, what the fuck whatever the person is to you, right? We could be so much better persons. But at the end of the day, we all have different morals and integrity, and some of those have price tags.
Station, because then they will be controlling everything, controlling what you say. It's just like any regular media. When we see so much depth in our community, but you don't see it on regular TV news show. They don't talk about that. They'll talk about us if we get shot or killed, but they don't talk about the many that's been injured with gun violence. So to mess with MTN, or to even talk about privatizing, is an insult to me, and it should be an insult to everybody in the city. What we need to do is figure out more ways to give the city more funds. And what they've been doing over the years, the RT Ryback started it. They've been cutting it, slashing it from the city council level to try to bring it to a place where we can't go any further. So this is a fight right here. If this is what they're trying to do, we will fight you to the end to keep this as a public access and demand a public hearing. So we're gonna go to this board meeting tonight. But I'm going to continue I'm going to fight to the end. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, brother, we appreciate that. And my sister, you know, this is for the public. This is a valuable communication resource.
What's going on, Al? How you doing, man?
What you doing, man? Actually had a chance to look up the information.
You ain't doing good. What you doing? What you going in there for? What you in there?
We were kind of briefed on the strange kind of power grab, what it seemed like. Talk about in city governance the responsibility to be transparent and open in your communication, especially when it comes to switching your corporate structure for the residents of the city.
Exactly. we cannot afford to have any more smoky backroom deals that are happening in this city. And really, who ends up suffering is the people end up suffering. We have an issue with communication in this city, not just with the television station, but to include our policing. We've had an issue with that. We got a DOJ report that is over 80 some odd pages with 37 findings. We can't even get.
It's funny how they bring up 2017 and then bring up a DOJ report. Funny as fuck.
And I just heard the associate director or assistant
that
director,
is the executive
director.
Yes.
I just heard her say it doesn't matter if it's public or private. Yes, it does. There is no in between. Public is public and private is private.
Say that one more time. She said it didn't matter.
She said it did not matter whether it's public or private. We are not fighting it anymore. The decision has already been made. It's not under consideration. It is done. She said this happened on August the 28th at City Hall. So I looked into it. This was at the Ways and Means Committee, which there were several council members that were present for that, to include the chair, John Quincy, to include Linnea Palmasano, to include Elizabeth Glidden, Blong Yang, Lisa Bender, and Andrew Johnson. So there was a quorum of 4 people along with the chair. So this was something that was discussed at this meeting, but we haven't heard that this was actually then brought to City Council to have a quorum with the whole council to decide whether or not this was going to occur or not.
So this seemed like it was a private meeting, a decision made on the behalf of the residents of the city to privatize the public.
Niggas ready there for that meeting, boy. They there. Why can't we understand why people don't pay attention?
And there, I mean, there's a lot of information that comes out. There are over a dozen different committees on City Council that have, some have community input where people are chosen to be on those committees. And there is a lot of information in there, but something like this should have been well publicized. Everybody should have known that this was going on.
Tuning into Listen Media.
Snake ass motherfucker, rat motherfucker, piggy motherfucker. Let's talking about
Listen. Little by little by
Black
little.
CNN.
Now where it's at the point where they're making
that's good to call you a CNN because don't nobody
provider.
watch the motherfucking mainstream media
We control
no
who
more.
we decide to have a contract with for our internet provider. So we have been taking measures and steps to continually defund so that we can move to a private model, and so more voices could be silenced and not heard, and again, the flow of information for our residents in the city are blocked. This is unacceptable.
Right.
So we're going in here for the MTN. You thought wrong. Get your laptop. So we're on our way in here to this meeting here. We have a lot of people here that's coming, that's tuning in. We want to make sure that this does not become.
That's what they're supposed to be doing. This is
I gotta get my laptop and everything.
This is what these leaders were supposed to be doing: is keeping Minneapolis from becoming a liberal shithole, But yet they joined. They wanted to beat the system, but they joined the system because they understood that money brings you further than out here being broke. Just like Charleston White, everybody's got their own gig. That's what I don't understand it. And the crazy thing of it is, it's all right. But I'm going to tell you this, year 2024 was the year of the truth. And what they say on free inside from inside out, year 2025 would be the year of retribution. What Cat Williams said 2024 was going to be the year of truth. Going to be the year of truth. 2025, the year of retribution. The year of retribution.
Here, so I want to make sure you want to hold this here. Yeah, just hold that right there. I gotta grab my.
Just watch the people that you're going to see, right? Because you're going to see activists nowadays. You've already seen Samantha Pre-Gonzalez, right? Who's on the BET Commission for Minneapolis, right? Who was the Board Estimation and Taxation Committee, right? Commission or something in Minneapolis, right? And then you see L. Flowers. He's with the UCMT. These are people that are still here today in 2025 fighting for our rights, fighting for a better, and tell us that racism, that us being black is holding us back. When it's individuals that are gatekeeping and telling us that it's racism so that we don't look at the top of the leaderboard, so that we're sitting here. They keep us grounded. They keep us on the street level and complaining and doing all these things so we look crazy. But at the end of the day, we out here telling the truth. So that's what I'm saying, of like everything that was coming into existence in 2024, for people to understand that's what all this is about. Because Ron Edwards, the more I listen to Ron, the more that I read Jewel, I'm really starting to become so more educated. And it's crazy because, yeah, I ain't even gonna get into it, but it's not even crazy. You have to open your mind. And there's a reason why all of this is happening. If you put all the signs together, how do we get here? There's events, historical events, that have brought us here to this moment in 2025. And are we going to sit here and fight it? Or are we sit here and going to ignore it? It's in your hands. The control is in your hands. You can either stand up and fight, or you can sit down and look the other way. What are you going to be known as? Do you want your kids, your future generations, to be living like this, to be living in poverty, to be living where there's nothing? Where out in California, oh damn, I need to definitely turn that down. Out in California, where there's wildfires that we don't know if it's direct energy weapons, we don't know if it's arson, we don't know if it's a natural disaster, because there's so much conspiracies out there. You know what I'm saying? But if people put the signs together, the events, you would understand that it's always been here, that there was truth tellers that others were trying to stop from us from getting the truth, from us getting the knowledge, the information to be able to fight this. That's what all this is about, man. This isn't about, that's why I say these people are, and I think about Alonzo all the time. I think about Gemini. I see him on TikTok or whatever. But he was always told me, is like, these people aren't elected, they're selected. And then it made me think about it, because you look at it, how are these motherfuckers not selected? They selected Vita all the way in Chicago. Put her on the park board. Put her in all kind of shit. Then you got Michael Rainville. Then you got Kiowski, whatever the fuck her name is, Pelosi. You got all these people. They collect money off our pain and blood and trauma. Look at all the foundations. How are these people making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, and we're living in poverty? And they say they're fighting for us to get reparations. Nigga, you already got your reparations. Get the fuck out the way. That's why I literally don't go into these Twitter spaces. I don't really fuck with nobody, because at the end of the day, I always knew. It just took me to open my eyes. It took me to be able to believe that this shit was really happening. And what's crazy is, what even really made me open my eyes was the night of the 646. I was a part of planning that, right? So when the police busted us, I shouldn't say busted, yeah, I guess it is, busted us up, and arrested everybody. It was the biggest mass arrest in Minnesota history, on I-94 by Hiawatha. We were about to get off the highway, and here comes State Patrol. He comes like, man, about 200 cops. And it made me realize that they're not here to protect, because we weren't hurting anyone. All we were doing is fighting for our rights to be heard, and to be like, you know what? We're tired of this system. We want you to be accountable. We're tired of these slaps on the wrist and you talking about it. We actually want to see the action and work. We want to see your words actually mean something, not the fucking paper, the counterfeit paper that you're talking on.
Yeah. Appreciate you right now, man. Yeah. Let me tell you exactly what's been going on. Sure.
You know what, Michael? I don't know if you're still here, and I hope you are, because I'm gonna be talking about Red Wing. There was drones the other night, and at the nuclear plant in Prairie Island, and see, it's all at play. If people look at the bigger signs, why We have 2 nuclear plants in Minnesota, right? One on Prairie Island near Red Wing, and the other one is up north. Why are we having drone incidents? And I'm going to play something a little bit later about what people should be looking for, is because Red Wing is known as only a one exit town, a one exit city. There's only one way in and there's only one way out. And they're known for that. So I really want to get into it, because how is it that there's SUV in the police made a press release. This is not no fucking lie. And at the end of the day, this is what's crazy, is that somebody called me. They were at Babs the other day. Yesterday. And when this came out, and they were like, did you know that Red Wing, Prairie Island, the nuclear plant was having drones like SUV size, and the police even witnessed it? And I said, wait, what? You lying. And he said, no, for real. Just wait and see. Watch Red Wing and what's going to come out. And I said, you got to be fucking kidding me. With everything that's going on with Point Magoo in Malibu. And this is the crazy thing of it is, I'm starting to piece it, is that they wanted Minneapolis to fucking go up in flames. But then I understand it. Maui, what's going on in North Carolina, New Orleans, Arkansas, like a lot of these natural disasters, they're calling these the worst storms in history. How? No, it's the fact that people are being aware that direct energy weapons are being used. We're literally having wars in America by our own government. Our own, and this is the thing, niggas can call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever. I look at the paperwork. This is all I do. I look at the paperwork. And it's crazy, because even though I'm going to talk about this too, is that Rochester, Minnesota, there's been overdoses all week. And then they want to come out with a post. Well, there's a bad batch of cocaine going around. No, listen, your baby daddy is out here selling cocaine to people, and it's not fucking cocaine, it's fentanyl. You got kids turning in. You know what's crazy is I've gotten 3 calls this week about parents, about their child that were smoking these vapes, and one potentially could have OD'd. And we don't know if it was fentanyl or whatever, but there was something in his weed. And I said, that's crazy, because I've been talking about it. And I don't know what it is to take niggas to take this shit serious. You gotta stop the gatekeepers, because I'm gonna tell you like this. My life ain't easy. It ain't easy. I'm on probation. I'm about to be off, thank God. You know what I'm saying? But the last 4 years, I've been homeless. I've had over 40 fucking tickets for shit I literally did not fucking do. And how many convictions do I have? I have 3. Voter fraud, which happened in, it was stupid anyways, but I've had so much shit. So much. But people want to see, that's the crazy thing, is because we look at the truth tellers as the problem instead of the system as being the problem. And that's not cool. That's not cool. Right. And that's crazy. And I will say that, I want to say that it's gotten so bad with harm reduction. They're passing out booty bump kits. This is what's fucking, I didn't even know. Well, I did know that, but I didn't know they was handing out booty bump kits. They're handing out tooting kits. They're handing out needles. And then we understand this shit when we see this all over, where there's needles and balloons and all this shit for drugs, and the kids get it. And then we see why, because our government is allowing this shit to go out. Is allowing it. So why wouldn't they use direct energy weapons to wipe us out, to wipe parts of America out? Because I will tell you right now, when it even came to COVID, and this is what made me wonder, and especially when it came to Ron, is that Ron died of, they say he was allegedly, it was natural causes, that it was some chest flu or something. But this was the time when, that same day, January 20th, that's why it means so much to me. I'm starting to realize January 20th, 2020, it means so much, because it was the inauguration, it was MLK Day, and it was the day that they linked COVID, that humans were getting in Wuhan. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know people were like, oh, this nigga crazy. No, it's not. When the math is mathing, put it together. But sometimes this shit don't add up. And people sometimes afraid to call it out and others ain't. And I'm one of them. I'm not afraid to call it out. I'm not afraid because at the end of the day, the system has beaten me. The system has jailed me. You know what I'm saying? What more can you do to me but other than kill me? Because you ain't going to ever shut me the fuck up. You're never going to shut me up. I don't care what I've been through. I've been in jail. I know how to get on the phone and talk. If I can sit here and talk to people that would call three-way and talk to these chat lines and prison pen pals and do all this shit, well, then I definitely know a way that I can make my voice heard from behind the bars.
About to go in this meeting here. The meeting is in here, right? So this meeting is about. Come on, brother. Let's get this on the road. We finish it. Make sure we go live on this here. So, brother Ralph, give us a little description of what we're about to do and what we're about to do.
Brother, well, this is a major event that's happening. You know, sometimes, sometimes we got to stand by ourselves, and then sometimes we got to make a phone call. And Brother Demetrius, the thing about what I appreciate about you is, brother, you stand in life and you stand in death. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to balance that a little bit more because we have a lot of people that are standing for issues that are for the public's best interest while we're living. We're going to go actually inside this MTN board meeting that's scheduled to start. I wanted everybody to come early because I didn't know if they would switch the time or not. But let's go.
Give us the information. I don't have to give you the information.
There you do. There you do. So you can't handle this.
We can have.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
When was the resolution? On 9/28.
9/28?
That's what that says.
No, this is a request for committee action.
The resolution was approved by the Ways and Means Committee, but not by. I do understand. I'm on the board of directors at CAMO and I'm the first vice president of the board. I understand very well the difference between public and private.
This is no longer, the city of Minneapolis took all the resolutions that require us to have an open meeting as a public.
People need to watch this and share this because this is literally how about gatekeepers of how they keep people.
It's not listed in the city charter as being allowed.
Thank you, Samantha. And me and her have issues, and it's about something else. But I will say this is that a lot of Negroes do not understand what she's talking about, right? When it comes to the city charter, because there's certain things that they can and they can't do, right? And when people know the law, when people know their rights, they get caught in situations, the government, the city does, where they want to cover up. Like we see what's going on with Derek Chauvin and George Floyd, right, with Katie Blackwell and Minneapolis PD, that MRT was trained for years and that they used it for years. And why all of a sudden are we taking it out of context? Why is it that a move that y'all did for years called MRT, for years, and you take a life, and yet now you want to do something? But what about all the pain and trauma you were causing? What about Marvin Haynes? What about Mayan Burrell? What about all the innocent young black men and brown bodies that you were incarcerated and they were innocent? What about them? You know what I'm saying? It's like we need to really get in limbo. We really need to get collaborative, collectively, and do this because we need to organize, we need to strategize, and we need to do this by any means necessary because it's been over and over. We look at it like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, all these black people they put in front of us, and they have sad-ass stories. Our heroes have sad-ass stories. This the crazy thing of it is that I want to be known as, and I don't even care what others think because I know what I've done, and I know that we can get it further. If we had more people that were not scared of the system, if you look at it and be like, you know what more can they do to me? I'm a 47-year-old man. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because I realize this is that I'm worth more dead than alive. I'm going to say that again. Us niggas out here, we're worth more dead than we are alive. That's why I don't give a fuck. Literally. Why I don't care because now, see, here's the crazy thing of this, and I will say this, is that if I would die today and people would put up a GoFundMe to bury me, that shit would have like $30,000, $40,000 in it. But because I've been homeless and needed help, there was only a couple people that would help me because I was calling out the system. I was calling out the establishment, the white supremacy, and the niggas that take part in that white supremacy, right? The Uncle Toms, the Coonan, like Tariq Nasheed, right? Like Lisa Clemens, Vital, Al Flowers, the people in this fucking video that are still here today, 8 years later, doing the same shit. But see, there they were poor. See them, they were trying to beat the system. Now they've joined it. So there's a big difference. I'm not trying to join shit. Because I don't ever want to see another black man, a white man, a brown man, don't matter, a yellow man, whatever color you are, purple, red, I don't ever want to see them go through the situation that I went through when there's a better way out here. When there's a better way. There's a better, but at the end of the day, I honestly feel like it's not even words that people get mad about. It's not. It's the fact that you don't want to look in the mirror and be accountable for the actions that you have done. You get mad because niggas call you out because of the shit you've done wrong. Right? And that's crazy to me. So I've really gone on with this, probably a little bit too much. Ron, I've really been emotional about Ron lately, and especially about Jewel, because people don't understand is that, like, what's crazy for me is that I had somebody that was artificial intelligence, that somebody that was trying to educate me, because I literally thought it was a person that really cared. Not saying that they don't, but it was, I kind of feel like an experiment. Like, but then that experiment worked, because I will tell you like this, man, is that artificial intelligence, Jewel, would give me sources. And people are wondering, like, how the fuck did you know this? It's because Jewel was giving me sources. They were archived. Johnny Northside, the Minneapolis story. Yeah, niggas don't even know, man. Y'all goofy as fuck. I swear to this is how I literally know that people in this fight, we're not going anywhere, because there's so much information out here about the past that y'all have been corrupted yourselves, and people don't want to do the research. They don't want to do the history because we have short attention spans.
I just read it. I'm sure about it because I just looked it up and read it. The Ways and Means Committee might have approved the resolution, but the city council itself did not vote with the quorum and have 2/3 of a vote, and then go to the mayor and have the mayor approve it to say that this is no longer public.
That's not what this meeting is about.
Okay, so that means that the station is not officially private. It's not officially private, which means that this is a public meeting.
I'm going to have a closed meeting, and you all can leave because we've asked you to nicely, because we have the right to do that.
You actually lied to us twice. You lied to us twice. You told us that this was approved 9/28. 9/28 is next month. All right, so you've actually sit here as a black woman and lied to all these black people twice. It hasn't been approved, which has been proven because she said it to you, and you're just trying to push us out the door. No. Here's the problem I'm having is you're lying to us as a black woman. You're lying to the black community. You just told us that the resolution was approved 9/28. No, you just said 9/28. 9/28 is next month.
Listen.
9/28 is next month.
Listen.
Dismiss it and it's wrong. You cannot talk to each other as black people, from one person to another, about something that affects our community when we're already marginalized. And you have people that are trying to represent our community with little to no support, with barrier after barrier, and now our own sister is doing the same thing. Doing the same thing and being dismissive.
These motherfuckers is some hypocrites.
As African Americans,
I swear to God, if everybody in
you
Minneapolis
just said that it was approved 9/28. Is that not a lie? Because 9/28 is next month. Is that not a lie? But is that not a lie? You said
I just proved to you that wasn't. Here's the document sheet date. I'm going to get a copy, Rand. I'm going to get a copy, Rand, of this.
But the board members, the 5 white board members, aren't even legal. They're not even on the MTN website.
Thank you.
Come on. Why is it your name and picture on the MTN website?
Because he hasn't.
Why do you have an MTN email but you don't have an MTN identity on the website? Okay.
Why were the black board members deemed to have their vote?
You gonna sign us up? That's what you gonna do. You gonna sign us up? You gonna sign us up?
Why were the black board members' elections determined to be invalid?
Listen.
Secretary.
Listen.
Data was used
By
to
5
prove that those results were invalid.
by 5 illegal white board members who aren't listed on the MTN website.
And not only that, when it occurred, it was before 8/28. So that information would still be public even if
That's
the claim is
valid.
that
So
it's
she was a
private.
part of
today.
Jewel.
It wasn't
She's a
at the
part of
time.
Jewel.
So where is
I
that
don't know.
information?
Didn't pay for
Where
it.
is that
It's not gonna go
information?
private today.
Where is the
It's not gonna go
information?
private.
Listen!
Yes, I do.
Doesn't mean that the
Don't
public.
take,
You're gonna tell me that for the first
don't
time in our
strip the
city
name.
history.
When you strip the name, you strip
This
the
is-
name.
I am
It's not gonna go
I
private.
haven't stripped
For the first time in the city's history, we have two
tell them.
elected black board members and a
Google
Latina
it.
secretary,
Yes,
which
tell
has
them.
never ever happened
Since
before. We
1983.
call ourselves a
Program
progressive
of
city,
Ron
Yes.
and we've only ever had one black mayor. There's never been a black person in the seat I'm running for. There's never been any black people on this board. And then you get to, and somehow the elections are invalid. What was used to determine that those were invalid? This is absolutely ridiculous. We're not going to take it anymore. We're not going to take it
But
anymore.
I can't say nothing because
We are not second-rate citizens
That's the
in
crazy
this
part. We
city.
do.
it's not, I'm
We
telling
are
you.
not
take it.
second-rate, we are
That's
not
what's sad.
second-class, and we're not
We do take it, and that's what's really sad. So I want to show you Minneapolis story, right? The Minneapolis story, which is Ron Edwards, which his blog site. It's still being ran by Don Allen, who is a Minneapolis teacher. Everybody should know who Don is. But this site right here, it gave out a lot of information on what people really should be paying attention to. So I wanted to read a little bit about it. I want to see what you guys can see first. Okay, that's all right. I'll do it like this. So about Ron Edwards, right? This is the Minneapolis story 2.0, right? Minneapolis, Minnesota, about Ron Edwards. Ron Edwards is an author of the Minneapolis story Through My Eyes and host of Black Focus, Channel 17, MTN TV, Sundays 5 to 7. He is the former head of the Minneapolis Civil Rights Commission and the Urban League. Readers can reach Ron at Edwards. It's sad. I do believe somebody uses it, but I don't know who. I think it's Don, but I'm not really sure. No one knows the story better, nor tells the story better than Ron Edwards. The Minneapolis story is the story of the great experiment, of the story of the last outpost of keeping blacks in their place. Ron Edwards fights the powerful people who are determined to take their misguided and elitist views on how to control a city to the rest of America. He pulls the covers off and exposes their actions with his visions of a real America, one that has a seat at the table for everyone. Checkmate. The Minneapolis story is also your story, as it is the story of every city in America. And now, I don't know who Peter Jensen is. Like I said, I'm new to this, and so I really wanted to. There go Don Allen. Shit, that's crazy. It's crazy how so many people, like when you dig through history and you see various people, it's really wild. I can say that it's really wild going through various things through history and seeing different people. So this is another one that I just want to play real quick for about 8 minutes. But this is the story of literally what happened to Ron, George Floyd, and why they covered it up. I know it says 2015 up here. You guys have to get a better understanding. You have to get a better understanding. So this is a board meeting, and you're going to see some familiar faces like D.A. Bullock, Creative Bully. You're going to see Valerie Lockhart. You're going to see and some other people. I won't say too much, but you're going to see some other people. I just found it amazing. Shouldn't even say amazing, but yeah, let me get into this.
You should give me the same courtesy and respect. So, okay. Then we hired Tanae because she had a relationship with me that is untrue, and also we hired her because she's black.
Nope, I'll send you the link, Mike. I will send you the link for all of this. Yep.
Which I find particularly insulting, which is also untrue. So I just want to state that for the record.
Okay, let me just say one thing to everybody in the office. Would you get on an airplane with someone who'd never flown an airplane before? No. Okay.
So we're gonna close the public comments. I did promise Keith 3 minutes, Keith, to wrap this up.
Well, let's not, because I've been around here longer than anybody except for Lamar. I got a timeline. Bessie Hodges is the mayor. She used MTN. Who's the governor? Mark Dayton. He used MTN. All right. I mean, we came from the level of that to this man trying to do a presentation that somebody didn't want to do, right? But this is what I think. If you're going to be a leader in MTN, you need a guy like Lamar.
I'd love to talk to him.
You need somebody like Val. You need somebody like Ralph. You need somebody like him. You need everybody in this room. So everybody, whatever it is you plan to do, everybody in this room should be included because they're here and they care. Everybody in this room should be included. So,
Thank you. I agree.
Great, thank you. I think we all agree with that.
From what I was just told when I got in here. So with the exception of being back on the board, which I stayed in here, all of the rest of this is still applicable. As a producer, Minneapolis resident, former interim ED, and board member, I have always had the best interest of this organization in mind.
That's
Even
Valerie.
admitting that
That's
we've had
Valerie
way too many
Lockhart. I
problems,
just sent that to you too,
I
Mike.
will continue to stand up for this place and its potential to thrive again. According to the city, I've been back on the board, which I guess I was wrong, since stepping down as interim ED. And though my requests for information have been denied and my credibility and name have been drawn through the mud, I am here tonight to remind you that this entire production that you guys are directing is wrong. A couple of you have been making decisions without even consulting the ones that you're making them for. Assuming that you know what's best for everyone here when you've never walked in our shoes or even understand what we need, assuming that you can
Yes,
just
sir.
magically fix years of anguish and pain by lying and manipulating the truth to serve your own purposes is insulting and shameful. I don't need your blessing to be here. I'm a member of this community, but I promise you, if this organization does not get its shit together, follow the rules of public access, act transparently, and begin to actually work with us and for the people of this community, I will put all of my energy into convincing the powers that be to that we are in fact squandering the money that they give us. So that's my statement. I would like this to be on the record, please. Is that just one page?
It's the minutes from the meeting. Do you want to
Just one
give
page that I
everybody?
handed you. That's what I want to make sure. Thank you.
Mayor, I would like to hear the note that I submitted to the record during last board meeting.
We don't have any note of the record that you submitted in April, the April meeting?
The document that I handed to the acting secretary?
No, I'm sorry, there was no note added.
Was anybody here at that meeting and remember the document that I handed out?
In support of Ralph?
In support of Ralph. Can I hear that read back, please?
I don't have it with me. No, it wasn't added to our record.
I was specifically handed in to be part of the record. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
What was
But
the
it's
date?
not available.
What was
Is that
the
correct?
What was the date of the meeting?
The last board meeting, June 28th.
There was no board meeting June 28th. We didn't have that.
Oh, so I submitted to the record, but this
That
was
was
an
one of those
informal
casual
meeting. Gotcha, okay, well, I want to go on record. I'm Troy Peterson, I'm a video producer here, as saying, I do not now, nor have I had any problem with Tanae Wells. What I do have a problem with, I am available to you on the same terms I agreed. What I do have a problem with is things that have been transpiring in this organization in the last 2 years. From my understanding, that is about the term that you were nominated by Michael Fallon to be the board chair. Is that correct? I don't know when that happened.
No, that's not correct.
Michael Fallon did not nominate you?
No.
Okay, then I withdraw that. This statement, this is specifically for the record, and I would like to call out within this document.
You want to read
This
it for the record?
read this. I don't want to take up the time. The board can pass it around. But I want to be very clear. My issues, my content got aired. There was never a time when my content was not getting aired. Did you know that?
I'm sorry, I'm not following this conversation right now.
Okay.
You need to.
You want me to read the document?
Yeah. Well.
Okay. I'll read the document if you'll allow the time.
At 8 minutes.
In 2014, when the Libertarian Party gubernatorial candidate was arrested in Minneapolis Park by the Minneapolis Park Police for distributing political literature, I wanted him to have a platform to discuss policing issues. As a longtime independent producer at the Minneapolis Television Network, it was a piece of cake. Quick meeting, wrote and received a small grant, cover expenses, and within a couple of weeks I was co-producing the third-party gubernatorial candidates debate. The production aired heavily on access stations statewide, allowing alternative viewpoints to be heard by Minnesotans. I got a unique line item on my resume, had some fun, met some people, mission accomplished. I went back to producing my regular music video show at home and never worked at the MTN studio again because it wasn't a very welcoming place. In 2015, during the 4th Precinct takeover, concerned for the safety of both police officers and protesters, I reached out to MTN and tried to co-sponsor a panel of African American legal experts to discuss safe, civil, effective protests. I was told MTN wasn't co-sponsoring any more events. The reason? One member, a man of color, was being crazy, right? Accusing MTN of institutional racism because they had refused to open their space to attendees of the multi-day National Black Media Conference happening in nearby Minneapolis. Let me repeat that. MTN couldn't co-host a black legal panel on protest safety because they didn't want to open their public access station to nationally recognized group of black journalists visiting our city. How is it crazy? How is it crazy? And I ask this to the board. How is it crazy that someone would see institutional bias here? Further, why are you blaming the black guy? In 2016, MTN's board stepped in due to administrative discrepancies. It was clear something had to change. This organization, empty on most days, was offering no more than the bare minimum basic public service. It was at this time that the organization had to reevaluate itself. When my colleague took over as interim executive director, I began producing my video show at the MTN studio instead of my home studio, where I have faster computers and have no 4-hour time limit. The only other producer who regularly used the space turned out to be the crazy black guy. Certain members of staff immediately became uncomfortable and warned me against talking to him. He's bad news. He'll record you and use it against you. He'll quote you. Ignoring the widely accepted dangers associated with conversing with a black man in public, I spent some time listening to this independent producer. It was easy to convince me that if a young Jamar Clark or Philando Castile had walked through MTN's doors, he would have had a really shitty experience here. This is supposed to be the one place in Minneapolis where a young person might truly be empowered to be heard, and both of these young men would likely have been disappointed. There needs to be some change in staff around here, my new friend said. Over the following weeks, I met some of the dwindling number of independent producers still subsidizing their income leasing MTN's aging equipment for video shoots. One of the men, they're mostly men, who I'll call the old bull to protect his innocence, is another person of color who's been producing at MTN for years. He recalls its controversial heyday when the station was a support for a bustling local media ecosystem. When JC was here, referring to JC Baghdadi, the colorful former MTN director who is now training independent journalists in Libya, Tunisia, and Turkey, MTN's production truck was always out serving the community, and we always had work, said the old bull. MTN used to sell video production services to support their mission, not anymore. The old bull has this crazy theory that someone wants to see MTN close its doors. The man behind the curtain, he says. That's why we keep getting these weak EDs, why the budgets keep shrinking. That's why they won't even deal with the racism accusations here when there's potential for lawsuits, because someone wants MTN to close up. On the surface, his theory sounds crazy because MTN's budget, about $500,000, is that correct? I don't want to misrepresent that. Is that roughly the number?
Close.
Close enough? The finance guy? So excellent. The money comes from cable providers who are mandated by the government to create a free speech zone. MTN is not funded by the city of Minneapolis, Texas. The old bull story sounds crazy, right? Not so, says a Chamber of Commerce member who is also a senior executive. This stuff happens all the time in politics. If you're around long enough, you will make enemies. MTN has been around long enough to make some powerful enemies. While public access can be weird, amateurish, wacky, boring, or even difficult to watch, it's also critical to a modern democracy. Martin Luther King said, "A riot is the language of the unheard." Public access television is an amazing way for people to be heard. I can think of 100 reasons. The man behind the curtain might want MTN in its current state to close, and I'd like to ask him, what are we going to replace it with? I don't know if we need to go through this exchange. I've highlighted what I consider some of the key things. I'll leave that at that.
Yeah, if you could maybe give the cliff notes.
I'm telling you, niggas need to get the story, man. That's
I'll
crazy.
read it all in its entirety if anybody wants to hear it.
Sure, if you could start sequentially.
There are 3 files in the submission folder. Pan-African promo.
No, I'm sorry.
No, this is sequentially. This is the order in which they came to me. There are 3 files in the submission folder. Pan-African promo, Pan-African 3, Pan-African 4. I can get those.
Look at them. These
starting
niggas,
tomorrow
that's the
if those are
crazy
ones
part.
you
They've been
can
talking
play
about this shit.
ASAP. As for the
Niggas
directive I
knew.
received regarding Ninja Media submissions, don't go out of your way to get those on air. Don't put any effort extra into them, Val and Troy, especially if you are behind on your regular work, or words to that effect. There may have been miscommunication between Tanae and myself. I'm quoting, this is okay? Okay. Between Tanae and myself, but the impression I got was that Ninja Media programs were not top priority. This is the message I received on the other side of a month of holding on to this letter. This letter I wrote after the last circle when a staff member here accused one of our community members of having narcissistic personality disorder. I do not know if that person has a medical degree wherein he can do that,
Crazy
but
black
my
guy
understanding, this was
narrative, right.
consistent with
That's what
stories
they
I've
like to
heard
do.
repeatedly in the
Damn, I love this
I'm
shit.
not
Calling
pleased
this shit
with
out.
it. So I held on to this story.
Same thing they was doing,
right?
man.
And
It's
the
crazy. I
pieces
told
here-
y'all, this is like
so-
a motherfucking game plan. This is like a book, right? What I mean by a game plan is that they've already, well, I want y'all to learn the Willie Lynch syndrome, the bread and circus theory, the Roman and circus theory, right? Because all these things, the making of a Negro Christian, the makings of a Negro slave, all these things, the system was designed to keep people as slaves. And it's not about racism. Yes, there's policies that probably need that's not even, I will say probably, that need to be fixed, right? Not an amendment's not going to do it. It has to be us. Because right now, I'll tell you like this, is that our founding fathers were trying to get away from a country that was authoritarian, right? That wanted all this control, but yet we couldn't do anything. I don't honestly feel like the way we progressed as a country, that what the founding fathers written for us no longer fit the way that they written, right? So that's why we have all these amendments. And I don't understand why we like to progress and everything with cell phones, but y'all want to go by words and that people don't even know the meanings or even know what they are anymore today. And that's what I don't understand is like, yes, I do understand that's dumb, because first of all, people don't know the system to understand that, yes, we need to erase it all so we can go back in time and correct our wrongs. It's not about looking in the mirror and be like, you know what? You're shitty. You're shitty. You're shitty because your ancestors owned slaves. No, it's not about that. It's about learning the history so that we don't repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's not about making niggas feel bad. That's what I don't understand when it comes to reparations or it comes to any of that. It's not about making people feel bad. It's about knowing better so that we can do better. That's what this is about. It's not about making people feel bad. It's about when we know better, we can do better.
When I came to find out that my content was being deprioritized, I sent a letter to my African friends who I created this content specifically for a board-sponsored city. Gurman and James, as you know, Ninja Media created 3+ hours of video content to promote the events you are co-producing with the Park Board on July 23rd. Ninja Media created this content to make up for your poor experiences dealing with MTN and to demonstrate MTN's commitment to the Pan-African and Pan-Caribbean communities. These videos were submitted to air a couple of weeks ago, and the programming manager was told by the interim executive director to deprioritize airing this content due to a backlog. As a result, these did not begin airing until yesterday. The chair of MTN's board, John Thompson, in the CC, was made aware of the situation and worked directly with the programming manager to ensure this content airs in plenty of times to promote your event. I've also CC'd Selena Martina, the Community Outreach and Access Coordinator for the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board. You may remember, we all met at the same city co-sponsored event earlier this year. She is aware of the access issues many have faced at MTN. I'm deeply embarrassed by this situation. While I'm not interested in assigning blame, I'm extremely appreciative of the work of John, the board chair, and the programming manager. This work was instrumental to ensuring both of you have equal access to this vital community service. Thank you, everyone, for your understanding and patience. Here's to 2 successful events. John, I'll let you read your response so that we can get your inflection right.
Sure, thanks, Joe.
Thank you, everybody, for...
So when I saw this came through, so this message was CC'd Minneapolis Park and Rec Board, so that's largely why the tone of this message is as it is. Troy.
So y'all can see that all the players remain the same. All the players remain the same. And it's crazy. So we're going to get into this over the next couple of weeks of L. Flowers, Lisa Clemens, and all these, MTN, what happened with Samantha Pre-Gonzalez and the BET and all these things, right? Because there's history. People need to know the history. That's one thing that we do need to know. And so we're going to take a little small break. I'm going to play Don Tripp. And with that, I'll be right back right after these messages.
I usually wanna be a baller, a shot caller, with 26s on my Impala. That's until I had a son and a daughter, and I decided that I'd rather be a father. I'm still getting money, got you pussies hot and bothered. Never stopped fighting, caught me Hurricane Carter. I was grinding harder when they repossessed my Charger. I was getting money, but I fucked up my priorities. Lesson learned, I had to be patient, had to wait my turn. Mr. Tripp ain't welcoming the bitch as far as they concerned. They ain't want me eating at their table, then the tables turned. Though like Homer Simpson, except I don't work for Mr. Byrne. Why you got your hands out? I got nothing to give away. Ran into a rat the other day, I had to shake it bake. Mama had to scrape just so we wouldn't stay in Section 8. She did damn good, so just let me set the record straight. Mama ain't want nobody to know that we was broke, I think it hurt her pride. Problem is I'm far too fucking arrogant to tuck and hide. Let's go get this bag then, let's go have a blast. I was breaking down bells, had me always late to class. And I never been ashamed of all the errors in my past. Fuck I'm supposed to be scared of, who gon' whoop my ass? Babies come first, I would give them all my last. It feel mighty damn good to be a dad. Used to want to be a baller, a shot caller, yeah, with 26s on my Impala. That's until I had a son and a daughter. Then I said fuck this shit, I'd rather be a father. They know that is a gorilla though regardless. I got fully automatics and revolvers. The streets don't let nobody back, the streets is heartless. I pray to God I get to die from natural causes. I just keep the paper flowing like a faucet. One like to live, we can't rewind and should've paused it. Be a baller, a shot caller. Yeah, with 26s on my Impala. Yeah. That's until I had a son and a daughter. I said, fuck this shit, I'd rather be a father. Fuck this shit, I'd rather be. Long live Piff.
Long live Piff. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all know nothing about Piff. Man, you know, ever since, I'll tell you this, the last couple of years, my music has totally changed. Like I used to be all about 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, but ever since all this shit came out about Epstein and about all these freak offs, I just look at these niggas differently now because, like, you look at my playlist now, I got a lot of Don Tripp, I got a lot of D1, I got a lot of myself, shit that'll lift you up. I probably still got some little thug ass music in there, but that's because at the end of the day, you got to listen to something to get you through this bullshit, right? I understand that it's drill music, it's murder music, it's niggas get killed over bullshit music, but at the end of the day, there's music that feeds your soul, right? It's music that maybe they honestly don't know that it's wrong, but they've been through it, so they talk about it and then they put it on wax. The same thing that I do, and I appreciate that, right? So, with that being said, man, I want to get into I want to really talk about Red Wing a little bit, right? I want to talk about how uninvited guests were spotted flying over Red Wing, right? And that's what I want people to see, because Red Wing police officers say 4 to 5 drones were spotted flying around a nuclear plant on Wednesday. According to a press release from the Red Wing Police Department, officers with the Goodhue County Sheriff's Office received a complaint from the Prairie Island nuclear plant on the 1700 block of Wakanda. I probably didn't even say it. I just act like I was just saying Wakanda. So, yeah, I know y'all see that right there. 3 people charged in cartel-related kidnapping. It's some real ass shit. People think that the shit that people be talking about, it'd be weird, but it be real stories. It's that niggas don't want to listen, right? So, Wakanda Drive, that 4 to 5 drones had been spotted flying around. Oh, shit. That's crazy as hell. 4 to 5 officers from the Red Wing Police Department and the Prairie Island Tribal Police Department responded to the area and said they observed 2 drones flying around the nuclear plant and Lock and Dam, number 3. Officers said they monitored the drones until they were no longer seen in that area. Police say they were unable to locate the person or persons piloting the drones, but said in a press release that there is no active threat to the public. So my thing of it is, if you don't know, you can't locate it, you don't know who's piloting, you don't know what they're doing, how is there no active threat to the public? So we're going to get into that. So according to law enforcement, the incident is not currently under active investigation by the Red Wing Police Department. That's crazy as hell, because then I'm going to tell you like this, right? We're going to get into something else. And I want to play this. This is a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, out in New Jersey. People, I know they remember the drones, right? But did people not understand that there's things missing, like radioactive material missing while they're doing this? So why are we having drone sightings and nuclear plants and they're telling us there's no active threat? So I'm telling you that their narrative is bullshit. I'm telling you that they're fucking lying to us, that mainstream media, that our own police departments are lying to us, because we have shit that'll kill us missing. Nuclear that is deadly. So I don't understand why people aren't taking these more serious. And I hear from the horse.
There is growing concern and a demand for answers about the mysterious drones hovering over the tri-state area. In New Jersey, the flying objects have been spotted over residential neighborhoods, restricted sites, even near President-elect Donald Trump's home, and critical infrastructure.
Belleville Mayor Michael Mellum says the drone sightings are creating anxiety in his town, and he's looking for answers. And he joins us this morning right here on Good Day New York. Thank you for joining us, Mayor. You know, President-elect Trump says that the Biden administration knows what's going on, our government knows what's going on. You're the mayor of Bellevue. What do you know?
We know very little. About 6 days ago, there was an unprecedented briefing with every single mayor in the state of New Jersey, along with every member of our state legislature. We learned exactly at that time what the state knows, which was very little. Since then, information has not been forthcoming. And it's this lack of transparency, in my opinion, that's doing nothing but fueling conspiracy theories online.
Do you have any idea what it could be? Or which side it could be, where it's coming from?
Yeah, I can tell you what it's not. We know for a fact it's not little green men.
Right.
More than likely, it's not a foreign adversary, because they would be able to figure out how to turn off the blinking lights.
Right.
These drones are huge. We had a mayor yesterday on the call with the White House telling them that he had 6-foot drones hovering over his house. Yet they continue to tell us, we don't know what we're talking about. It's misidentification. Certainly, there's some misidentification probably going on, but I could assure you that we are seeing drones in New Jersey all over the place.
All right, so Bethany Frankel, I know she's not like, you know, the New York Times, but she says that she has like some kind of contact at the Pentagon, and that it has something to do with radioactive material in New Jersey. What are you hearing?
So here's what I know. I know that we were told by our state police that we have assets over our critical infrastructure. Now, depending on your point of view, that's either concerning or comforting. I think it's comforting because it's probably us listening and watching. We also know that we have drones that are flying in a grid-like pattern. In my opinion, they're looking for something. What might they be looking for? Well, potentially, we're aware of a threat that came in through Port Newark. Maybe that's radioactive material. There was and there is an alert that's out right now that radioactive material in New Jersey has gone missing on December 2nd. It was a shipment. It arrived at its destination. The container was damaged and it was empty. So potentially we're looking for...
That's very important information.
Right.
And that came from a credible source.
That came from the U.S. government.
And so it's missing?
Missing.
And they think it's in New Jersey, or it could be anywhere?
It was lost in New Jersey, in transit. And again, this is just an example of what I think that we're sniffing for. I think we do have the assets that can go up and fly around and sniff things, which is why we're not seeing the uptick we used to see in Belleville anymore. It's kind of moving, but we're seeing alerts that it's happening now in Pennsylvania.
And that's right about the time that the drone sightings began, right?
Yeah, drone sightings began about 4 weeks ago.
That's
okay. So when you take a look at this, if this information is indeed credible, why wouldn't the government say, it's us?
That's the crazy part about this. And we've gotten very little information. Even yesterday on that call with the White House, literally mayors were told, you guys are seeing things. There's no credibility to this. We had one mayor, like I said, had drones over his house. I mean, we're no longer going to stand for not hearing the truth. I mean, our state government is failing us. They're not getting the answers from the federal government. And even though yesterday they told us that there's nothing to see here, today there's a top secret briefing going on in Congress. Well, what are they being told that we weren't told yesterday?
Real quick, did you know yesterday when you were on that call about this missing radioactive activity or merchandise, or did you know that this morning after the call?
I was made aware of it yesterday morning. I did raise my hand. We weren't allowed to speak. I did raise my hand, was not called on to get that question answered.
So apparently it is concerning. Even the president-elect, who I'm sure gets some kind of briefings on things, he says he's not going to his home in Bedminster, right?
Yeah, I listened to him yesterday. He no doubt gets the same exact briefings that President Biden gets. He says our government knows. He says our president knows. And he also ended with saying, I'm not going to be in New Jersey this weekend.
So what do you want to know? What do you want the government to tell you and the general public?
I want them to be clear with us. I want transparency. I want them to say these are our assets. There's no need to concern about what's flying. The question should no longer be who's flying these drones or who owns them. It should be what they're looking for. Tell us they're ours. Tell us that they're protecting us, and tell us what the threat is.
Okay, we're coming up on the holidays. Is everybody going to be safe?
I hope so.
What do you want people to do if they see them?
That's a great question. So we've been told that pilots out of Newark Airport are getting hit with lasers. You cannot take the law in your own hands. We do not want you shooting at them. It is a federal offense to shoot on an aircraft. Drones are considered aircraft. And please do not try and hit them with lasers. Our pilots are being distracted.
So you think they're American, they're our government, and they're looking for something that went missing that could be very dangerous?
Absolutely.
All right, Megan, you got to keep us in the loop here.
Absolutely.
Because we haven't heard any of this stuff in New York.
Absolutely.
This is good, credible stuff. It's good, credible information.
And it's all verified and comes based, everything that I based my opinions on come from my briefings that I've got.
Wow.
You're briefings by the government.
Right.
Thank you so much.
He
Good
different,
luck.
so he gets
Thank you.
different
All right,
information than we get, and that makes you wonder, like, what the hell is really going on out here? Because, so I want to talk about these drones, right? So the nuclear plant in Red Wing is only one of two, right, power plants in the state, and it found itself in the crosshairs of unidentified drones, right? Yeah, you heard me right. The plant, it sits right along the Mississippi River near the Wisconsin border, and it's critical to the region. When drones, unregistered and unauthorized, start hovering around, you have to ask, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Because they're not telling it, they're not being transparent. You can see there's so many situations that people have to fight just to get transparency. I know Pamela Lang from Plainview, Minnesota, Marcy Bamley, right, from Wabasha. Her son died, Spencer Somerville, say his name, right? So you can't sit here and tell me that there isn't situations that it's plausible where the government protects itself when you see it in real life that the government protects itself by any means necessary, right? Right, designated survivor, right? And it's wild that nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Just like, yesterday I made a post on Twitter and I found about, probably going to say the name wrong, but Point Muja, whatever the hell it's called, the naval base. And it's crazy to me how everybody, they always want to talk about it. Actually, they don't want to talk about it because that's the one thing. I don't know how many times I've tagged people on Twitter, even the big names, and they stay away from it. They stay away from the fact that there's a naval base right there where they test laser weapons, and we're seeing all these things of drones, lasers being used in Los Angeles and California and all these fires, and yet nobody wants to talk about it. I don't know how many times Robert shared it. There's a new account that's been sharing it. So it's like people are looking at it and being like, damn, that's crazy, because all the proof is there. They put it out there on YouTube. There's videos out there that explain these weapons on helicopters, on airplanes, on ATVs, on that sit on places with lasers and have range that they can literally do whatever they want. And we're not supposed to believe, and it doesn't matter. There's a ghost runner that was around Hawaii when all that shit was going down. So it's that people don't really want to put two and two together. That's what's really what it is. What it comes down to is that people don't want to put two and two together. They want to live in their little bubble and they want to be all right. So I want to get back to dangers in the skies, right? Because it is serious. We see what's going on in California, but this is another one. It's a drone. It's a drone that hits a plane that is out there fighting the fires. That is out there fighting fires. So I want to show this. This is about a little bit, 5 minutes. I want to show this video for a little bit.
The SuperScooper right there. These are airplanes that are on loan. We actually leased them from Canada during fire season. Well, we understand that SuperScooper was hit by a drone while flying in the Palisades fire this afternoon. We're told the plane is expected to be able to fly again tomorrow. That's very good news because typically we only have two of these. Crews out there have the drone that hit the plane. The FAA wants to remind people it's a federal crime to interfere with firefighters and their operations. And flying a drone near wildfires is not only dangerous, it's not recommended, it's illegal. This aircraft, as I said, once again expected to fly tomorrow. We can tell you David Bigger is with us right now. You not only are a pilot, but you know a lot about this. The whole drone situation being up over the area.
Well, yeah, so the thing is, as soon as fires start breaking out, one of the first things that they start coordinating at the FAA is putting up a flight restriction. There's a flight restriction over the entire Palisades fire from the surface up to 7,000 feet. Now, most drones aren't allowed to be operating above 400 feet anyways, so anywhere within that area is not allowed. Part of the concern that always exists for firefighting aircraft is they're flying pretty low.
They're doing a
Right.
lot of water drops and retardant drops.
Right.
And if a drone, let's just say, was sitting at 400 feet or something like that, some people do fly higher than that, which is not allowed. But if a drone is at 400 feet and they're going in to try to make some sort of precision water drop, they can end up striking that. That's always the concern. And in previous fires, we've had instances where a drone gets spotted and all the air attack aircraft get told, okay, everybody back off for a minute. We're going to see if that drone is still there, because it is a threat to the aircraft. They got probably pretty lucky that it hit the nose of the aircraft and not any of the engines or anything like that.
Well, yeah, you look at these, you look at the fixed wing there, and then you think about the choppers. They're all rotors. If a drone was to get clipped with one of those rotors or go into the rotors, I mean, it could be catastrophic.
Yeah, so the thing is, I mean, you're thinking about most consumer drones. You're probably going, well, it's just a bunch of plastic and materials, but the batteries themselves are pretty dense, and not to mention lithium-ion batteries are a little explosive if you end up cutting one. You know, it doesn't take a lot to make small damage to things. And Colleen brings up the whole helicopter rotor thing. They are incredibly perfectly balanced, these rotors. You start chipping away at them and doing damage to them with a drone, that's significant. Obviously, not a helicopter in this case, but if you were to hit an engine or something, obviously they have a second engine on board. They could go make an emergency landing, but that then takes down a firefighting resource.
Right. Well, thankfully, hopefully, this will be able to fly tomorrow because we need it so
yes,
desperately.
absolutely. Yeah.
And the FAA will probably be investigating.
They'll be investigating, and if they were fortunate, this is going to sound weird, fortunate, unfortunate at the same time, if they're fortunate enough that any part of the drone got stuck in the nose, they've got now a part of the drone they could go back and try to figure out.
Part of the story is they apparently have the drone. So my question to you is, can you trace an owner? Are these things licensed? I don't know that much about drones.
So the FAA wants everybody to register their drone, especially if they're going to be flying it. Whether or not everybody has done that is still a big question mark, but assuming that you're operating legally, you would have a registration likely printed on the battery or somewhere on the drone itself. There are rules from the FAA about where to display your registration, then it can be traced right back to the person who registered the drone.
But we could have a rogue drone here, and somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
Because if you go through the program and get certified and do everything correctly, you know
not to do this.
Absolutely.
Yes, this is the rule: is you do not fly drones in fire areas, and even if it wasn't a fire area, you don't fly it in flight restrictions, temporary flight restrictions.
The last thing anybody wants to do is interfere with the job that these people are trying to do to help us.
Exactly. And, you know, the person operating the drone, I don't think they had a nefarious intent behind it, most likely. We don't know, obviously.
Well, video's the big thing these days.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where it's just you don't think about it. But that is the danger with operating when drones are not allowed in fire areas.
Well, thank goodness it stayed at this point. They have the drone. They can investigate, and the Super Scooper will fly tomorrow.
That's good news.
It is great news. Thanks, David.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news. And
so it is crazy. Like, there still is fires going out like crazy, like a motherfucker. I want to show something that just came across. And the only reason why I'm showing it's breaking news. So it happened in Atlanta, Georgia. Watch as passengers evacuate Delta Airlines plane on emergency slides after boarding takeoff due to an engine issue. Watch as hundreds of passengers make an emergency evacuation from a Delta Airlines plane at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in Atlanta, Georgia. Officials report that passengers deplaned from the Boeing using emergency slides and were transported to a nearby concourse. During the evacuation, 4 of the 201 passengers suffered minor injuries. 1 was taken to a local hospital, while the other 3 were treated on the scene. This incident was attributed to a combination of weather conditions and engine. Damn, that's crazy. We're going to watch this real quick.
We're standing out here.
So here we go. Here goes Atlanta, Georgia. Damn, that's crazy. It's cold. Damn, I didn't know they got snow down there like that. Damn, that's crazy. That's wild.
2025 is absolutely
Really off the
no
chain.
joke.
No joke,
I was
right?
on this plane headed to Minnesota. We
Oh, they was headed
started
to
taxiing
Minnesota.
to leave,
Oh,
and
damn.
all of a sudden,
Oh, wow.
this is crazy. So now we're all standing out here.
That's crazy.
We're in
They was headed to
Atlanta,
Minnesota.
standing, waiting. I don't know what's going to happen, if they're going to come pick us up, but we're standing
Wow.
out here.
So we got on that plane. Just know that they were going to Minnesota. Damn, that's wild. That's wild. I hope that everybody's safe. I hope everybody's comfortable. I hope everybody's definitely got into a better place. Wow, that's crazy. Huh. Yeah, that was crazy. Huh. There's so much going on, man. It's wild. I honestly, I don't even, I wonder what's going on in California. Let's see. Trump was sentenced. I'm not even getting into that shit. I'm not even falling into it. There's so much more going on. That literally, we can talk about so much other shit. So much other shit. So much other shit. So it's like, I don't even want to talk about Trump. So I want to talk about evacuations as well in California.
Sort of know him by first name now, but Bob Goldman, former captain of the LA County Fire Department. Bob, thank you for joining us again. Unfortunately, we're still talking fires.
Yeah, good afternoon, you folks. You're doing a great job of showing what's going on. Samantha is really killing it with the rap. She's got it going on. I wanted to mention that this is an area that's had a number of fires in the past, and is following the exact same path it always does. Very predictable. As I mentioned before, this is called a historical fire corridor. And the difference between now and the fires I fought there in that area back in 1982 is there's probably 3 times the amount of homes there now. The terrain is the same. The fuel load is still around those homes, but there's way, way more houses. Look at the smoke. It's kind of being laid out. So, like I said before, if you're at your home and you see the smoke coming over the top of your house, this is no time for ready, set. This is time for go. You don't have time to prepare other than grab the most important thing that you have, which is your children, your pets, your medication, your glasses, some documentation, and get out.
Now, Bob, this is Kai Goldberg. Though the winds, obviously, they're not nearly as strong as what we saw earlier in the week, those 80, 90 mile per hour wind gusts, and not as widespread. However, you just mentioned that this is a funnel area. So even though we're seeing gusts between 20 to 22 miles per hour, maybe 30 at the most, that's still significant. That's still dangerous, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Looks like Gil just kind of zoomed in there on Colette Way, or Sloan Place rather, and you can see the palm trees bending. Everything's whipping around down there. There is more than adequate wind velocity right now to move embers a great distance and start igniting these homes. They look to be fairly fire resistant, and I caution that word resistant is not the same as fireproof.
Right.
So there's a good chance that these people will dodge the bullet. But we have also seen many homes that are built exactly the same way architecturally, same materials, non-combustible roofs, that are being lost to this fire. And that's because of the embers under wind conditions being blown into the attic of these houses and burning these homes down from the inside out.
And you see the fire engine there on the far left side of the screen, parked inside that cul-de-sac, which is
and
great.
also a firefighter. Is he actually going door to door trying to get people out?
Yeah, that's going to be their process. These guys are going to position themselves ideally, as you see pointing out, so they can get out, secure a water source, and they're going to start going to door on the homes that they've been charged with protecting. Make sure people are out, and then they're going to quickly do a structure triage, run around the house and see what they can do. Pull plastic chairs away from windows and sliders, move things out of the way that they potentially ignite and be undetected, and then just be vigilant to any spots or embers that drop in. Yeah, that was bumping right up against them now. So
yeah, that's crazy what's going on in
now
California right now. I mean,
because the fires
it's wild, and I don't know if we'll California will ever recover from this, but I hope one day that they will. But I want to get into a date written in history. I want to talk about January 20th. A lot of people don't maybe know the understanding or what happened on January 20th and what the significance of it. So I want to talk about it a little bit, and I want to show you what January 20th actually meant. And watch this.
January 20th, 1981. Iran releases 52 Americans taken hostage at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran after 444 days in captivity. It happened just minutes after Ronald Reagan is sworn in as president, succeeding Jimmy Carter in the White House. 1961. In Washington, John F. Kennedy becomes America's 35th president, challenging the country in his inaugural address.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
1942. During World War II, officials in Nazi Germany hold the notorious Wannsee Conference near Berlin. That's where they devise what they call the final solution, their plan to exterminate Europe's millions of Jews. 1936. Start of a turbulent year for Britain's monarchy as Britain's King George V dies. George's son becomes King Edward VIII, but he later gives up the throne to marry an American divorcee, Wallis Simpson. By the end of the year, Edward's brother becomes King George VI, father of the future Queen Elizabeth II. And in 1896...
Well, Gracie, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Comedian George Burns, straight man to wife Gracie on radio, who later played God on the big screen, is born in New York City. Today in history, January 20th. Tim McGuire, The Associated Press.
And there's a lot of things that happen and continue to keep on rejoicing, not rejoicing, but understanding history and understanding that a lot of these things happened on purpose. And that we can overcome this. We definitely can overcome this. Iran-Contra started in 1979. It was planned for Reagan. Right. And there's a lot of things that happened in time, and people don't understand that. And that's one thing that I wanted to discuss, because here is the United States, January 20th. It's synonymous with Inauguration Day every 4 years. It's when we witness the peaceful, or sometimes not so peaceful, transfer of power in the White House. But that's just the beginning. MLK Day often lands around this time too. A reminder of the ongoing fight for civil rights and justice, but let's take it back further, because the significance of this date stretches beyond America. On January 20th, 1936, King George V of the United Kingdom passed away, setting off a chain reaction that led to Edward VIII's controversial reign and abdication. Then there's January 20th, 1942, the Wannsee Conference. This was when Nazi officials formalized the final solution. That cold, calculated meeting laid the groundwork for the Holocaust, one of the darkest chapters in human history. And more recently, January 20th, 2020, hit us with another global game changer. That was the day when the WHO, which the World Health Organization and the Chinese officials finally acknowledged human-to-human transmission of the coronavirus. We all know what came next. A pandemic that flipped the world on its head. January 20th isn't just another day on the calendar. It's a reminder of how quickly the world can shift beneath our feet. And please remember that, right? Because what does it all mean? So what ties all this together, from drones jeopardizing critical operations to historical events that shape the world, it's clear that vigilance and accountability aren't optional, they're necessary. We live in a time when technology is evolving faster than laws can keep up, when people with bad intentions or just plain ignorance can wreak havoc, and when history keeps teaching us lessons we can't afford to ignore. So here's my challenge to you, my listeners. Stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, don't sit on the sidelines, because the moment we stop paying attention is the moment we lose control of the narrative. and our future. And that's serious shit. You know, we lose the focus, we lose what the main objective is. And I want people to remember that. And what does all of this mean? Because it's not a coincidence. It's meant to happen. So let's prevent the next stage of Jumanji or whatever the hell the game they got us in, right? Because we need to start playing chess, that the game that they're playing, and stop playing the checkers that these community leaders want us to play. And I'm going to be honest with that, right? So, oh man, it's been a hell of a day. Today's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Another day gone. This is DLA Nation coming out next Thursday, January 16th. I know I switched the date a couple times, but I want people to rejoice and think about what is coming, and think about that. Grab your loved one and show them that you care. Show them that you love them and that you care, right? So with that being said, I want, hold on a minute. Hold on. So I want to give this to Ron Edwards, right? Because we talked a lot about Ron Edwards today, and I definitely want to keep it up with that, because you have to know your history to understand where you're going. You have to know your history to understand where you're going, because we've seen the dangers in the skies, drones interfering with firefighting, uninvited gas, drones at Prairie Island nuclear plant, you know what I'm saying? MNT, private, but really public board meeting in Minneapolis. So, and of course, remembering Ron Edwards. And I will never forget that. That is a big, I didn't know the man personally, but I knew a part of him that is still alive today, and it can be kept alive today. And that's rejoicing in his legacy, rejoicing in the fact that he made a difference for generations forward. Damn. So with that being said, man, here is Chains in the Air, Durban Conservative, and Win or Fail, Freedom or Jail, Heaven or Hell, Wish Me Well, and y'all have a great one. Album out today, or actually it's not out today, single out today, A Letter to the Devil, featuring Abstract Sam, Trip Young, Lee Moore, Circumstantial Saint, Cora Wrights, XD Wolfie, and I really want to give a shout out, a special shout out to Silky Berry, Silky, and Divine Marie. With that being said, man, Win or Fail, Freedom or Jail, Heaven or Hell, Wish Me Well, and I'll be back Monday. And y'all listen to Chains in the Air, album version, Durban Conservative.
The ballot or the bullet, freedom or death. We gas ourselves up, but we short on breath. Talking about we eating, but who we really cooking? Dreaming about greens, but ain't nobody looking. No land, no acres, no seeds in the ground. When the hunger hits, who's gonna be around? We starving every day, and it just ain't the food. Feeding the hood garbage, got them acting at fools. We flossing with rides, stunting with chains, but these bars we spitting just bring more pain. We guilty as hell, preaching all these lies, selling death to the kids, and we acting surprised. We commercialize the pain, broadcast the grief, tell the youth to hustle, but hide the beef. We glorify the trap, invite them to the flames. Just like Reagan brought the crack on planes. Back in the 80s when the streets got soaked, my people, my brothers, all got choked. Reagan said no trades, but we know the deal. He left us in the dirt. Man, that shit was real. I was just a shorty watching it unfold, old enough to see how we got so. War on drugs, but it was war on us. Cops on our necks. No love, no trust. They labeled us thugs, beasts on the block. Made us kiss the pavement while they cleaned our clock. Prison became business, thanks to Reagan's game. Free labor is the truth in America's name. Slavery's dead, man. That's just a word. Read the 13th Amendment. It's still absurd. They lock us in cages, serving time for life. Double digits for wisdom, cutting sharp like a knife. I'm here to say, the chains in the air, it's time we break free. Start showing we care. No more flexing for nothing. No more selling out. It's time to rise up. Time to end the drought.